Give it up for the CSL Dallas music team. And no matter where you are in the world, CSL Dallas is here as your spiritual home. And as a reminder, every day is a day for transformation, spiritual deepening, and heart connection, no matter what's going on. And every day we learn and practice something important that can make a difference. This is a very special month here for us at CSL Dallas as we celebrate our annual Adventures in Spirit campaign. And this year is going to be amazing because we're learning how to thrive. That's right, thriving all this month. So join us as we get it kicked off for today by putting your hands together for the CSL Dallas music team.
You to go within, sit, relax, be present at this very, very moment. Love, that original impulse, that source of everything, that divine love that bursts everything, that everything is of that, from that. What a holy love is that. Each one of us is the voice, the hands, the heart, the action, the experience of that one. Love that has no end. It's all blessings. What a blessing we are to each other. Help each other understand and care and express love in this human way. And we thrive through all of this. We thrive from that love that comes up from the earth through us. We share with each other and help each other be the fullest we can, because there's an abundance of everything for us. The banquet is full, and we are invited to take from it and move forward and expand all we can be, love. That holy, holy love, what a wonderful way and what a perfect way to express and experience that holy love. I claim this and agree with this as being so, and invite you to do the same with me by saying together and sticking a stake in the ground and claiming it by saying together, and so it is.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. We're a blessing to the world. You're a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world.
morning, CSL Dallas. Good morning. Glad to have you here in the sanctuary. Glad to have you online. My name is Joe Tinker. I'll be your platform assistant today. Kind of get you up to speed on some of the things we have coming right up. I also serve on your nominating corps. If you ever have any questions about the corps, please feel free to ask me when you see me standing around. I'll talk your ear off about it. Let's begin today by reading our purpose statement together. We say, we are radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, transforming lives. And so it is. It takes a village to run CSL Dallas, and we are so grateful for our tribe of volunteers who continually support this beloved community. Here's a huge shout out to our Sacred Service superstars for supporting last month's stuffing party and Fall Opportunity Fair. Let's tell them thank you. From A to Z, our volunteers really do it all here, and you are a blessing unto the world for that. Thank you. Now, Dr. Petra would like to share a special announcement about an amazing course that's starting soon.
Yes, this week I want to remind you that Dr. Tracy Brown's self-mastery class is starting this week. You can get no better guide on the options that are available to move your life forward and to really discover mastery in different areas of your life. If you're new to Science of Mind, it's a great class. If you've been around for a while and you need to be reminded, it's a great class. If you want to simply get more oomph on your path, it's a great class. And Dr. Tracy is an amazing teacher. She has a long history of being a speaker, facilitator, and teacher for both in-person and online. And she has enormous wisdom to share. So this week, sign up today. Don't miss it.
Thank you, Dr. Petra. You know what really colors our experience here? It's the vibrant group of artists that we have at CSL Dallas. Isn't it just amazing? Everywhere you go through the center, you'll find bits and pieces of artistry that those people have graced us with. And now you want an opportunity to explore a little bit of that art in your own life here at CSL Dallas. We have Ryan Brown. Ryan Brown will be offering his multimedia immersive art this Saturday. So it's coming up quickly. This is going to be an outside-the-box meditative event where you can tap into your inner creativity through artistic expression, and no experience is required. Visit csldallas.org events to reserve a spot. Now, whether you're joining us here today for the first time or you've been coming for decades, we're so glad that you're here this morning. We do want you to know that we want you to stay in touch with us. We would love it very much if you could leave us a Google review or hit us up on any of your favorite social media. Also, if you like the paper world, think about this. This is a Connect card. There's Connect cards at the back of the sanctuary. Fill one of these out and you'll get dialed into our weekly and daily information, texts and emails informing you and inspiring you throughout the week. Get yourself a Connect card if you don't have that already happening. Now, that's the announcements for the moment. Let's settle in with our music team, Candy, Deirdre, and Jerry. Well, Glenda joined us. All right. We are abundant this morning with this music team. We are also blessed to have, wait a minute, Avis Ives is not here today. Jim Barong, who already gave us our practitioner's blessing this morning. So, dig this music team and get into your groove.
Yeah, I don't know how settled this is gonna be. Get up, get up, get up. Oh, that's right. Ha ha. Thank you, darling. Ha 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 ha. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy
Woo, thank you to our music team and our band. And I love it when Matt is on the drums. Yes. It's all right, because you know he's a heavy metal drummer, and that's my favorite kind of drumming. All right, so we're moving into our Adventures in Spirit time. I know that many of you have already seen who our co-chairs are from receiving our newsletter, but I want the pleasure to introduce to you our Adventures in Spirit co-chairs for our Thriving a State of Being program this month, this year, Randy Craig and Dawn Ukpong.
So, back in April, Dr. Petra asked me to co-chair this program with Dawn. I took that away and didn't have to think too much about it, because I came back and said yes, because I think it's a great idea. It's a great opportunity for me to give back to you, the community, who has supported me for the last 14 years in becoming a much greater version of myself. So that was my yes. For those of you who are new to CSL Dallas and don't really have an understanding of what a pledge program is, basically, you know, we have this conversation in Science of Mind and CSL Dallas about us being spiritual beings having a human experience. Now, the spiritual side of that I'll leave to Dr. Petra and the core of wonderful practitioners that we have here. The human side of that, that's my job this month, along with Dawn, to talk about the human experience and the realities of that, and the grown-up conversation that we have to have about how we support one another financially. We don't do this all year long. We do it in October, and we talk about, we teach prosperity, and we teach generosity. So it's not just give us money. It's we're here as a community to support one another in creating prosperity consciousness, and through that, we support ourselves. We're able to give, tithe, and start committing to financially helping the grow and sustain the community. So we have if you have any questions about pledging or tithing, we're going to be here all month. We'll have a table in the breezeway. If you have any questions about that, we'd love to answer them. We have our AIS committee has some more members. We'll talk about the whole crew here in a bit. But we're happy to be here. We're happy to have the conversations, and appreciate you all being here. So, Dawn?
Yes. Good morning, beautiful people. I spent most of my teenage years and adult years in the Pentecostal church. And although I was a good citizen, psychologically, my life was consumed with guilt and fear. However, I embraced a career of caring for the sick and dying, which produced many questions about my Christian beliefs. And I wanted answers. The church did not have the answers to my questions, so I desperately searched for other spiritual paths. One Sunday, the children and I prepared for church, not knowing where I was taking them. I entered the car and I put in the GPS spiritual church. My GPS guided me here. That was 9 years ago. When I came here, I was greeted by many members, but one took special interest and took me around the campus, introducing me with people in our paths. That did something for me. That touched my heart. Someone taking the time to be with me and to introduce me to strangers. Well, I found my home. My children found their home. They were excited. They brought their friends along. Some Sundays would be 6 of us in my tiny soul Kia. Yeah, those were the days. I got my daily spiritual boost from coming here and for learning the practices. I have fulfilled my monthly pledges because I was so happy for the people who are dedicated to share the secrets to successful living. I can call on any of the leaders at any time of the day when I have a challenge, and they will assist me to see my truth when I am not in that place to see it for myself. I feel blissful for the unfolding of my life. Want to talk about blessings? You want to talk about things that I'd never seen or would never have dreamt about. One of my children graduated this year as a family practice physician. The younger child has been progressing in his studies in college. Baylor, Scott, and White recognized 100 nurses for their influence out of 26,000 nurses. And I was one of the 100 nurses. I have been promoted at my job. My colleagues are the happiest people I have ever worked with. I am grateful to CSL Dallas community and its vibrant, knowledgeable, practicing leaders who share the spiritual laws, thus influencing my life for the good. Thank you, thank you, thank you, community. You have done a great job, and you have influenced my life, and I am influencing other people's lives when I get in contact with them. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. So once again, we will be outside at our table throughout the month of October to answer any questions you may have about pledging, tithing. And on October 15th, we'll be having a community luncheon. So contrary to popular belief, there is a free lunch. So please join us on October 15th for free lunch, and Dr. Petra will be providing some analytics and stats about our community accomplishments over the past year and our plans for the coming year that all come out of our AIS program. So as you know, we had the slides up earlier that 100% of our funding comes from our community donations. And we're also a tithing community. So We believe in that law of circulation, and as a community, we practice that. So part of what comes in also goes out. That's the practice that we have here at CSL Dallas. We walk the walk. It's not just lip service. We have to practice it. We know how it works, and we work the work. So, to that end, we have set specific goals for our pledge program so that we can budget for 2024. Where's Matt in that drum roll? I have a drum roll. So our campaign goals are?
$820,255 and more.
And 186 pledgers and more. So collect your pledge cards, give what you can. Thanks very much.
Yay. Thank you.
And so we're going to honor our spiritual practice and this wonderful place and this wonderful pledge drive with a song from Jason Mraz. La 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 la. May you have auspiciousness and causes of success. May you have the confidence to always be your best. May it take no effort in you being generous, sharing what you can, nothing more, nothing less. Know you know the meaning of the word happiness. May you always lead from the beating of your chest. May you be treated like an esteemed guest. May you get to rest. May you catch your breath. And may the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrow. And may the road half paved be the road that you follow. Oh, 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 oh. Well, here's to the hearts you're not gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. Hey, we want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that we just want to love you. So we want you to have it all. Hey, we want you to have it all. Yeah, we want you to have it all. We want you to have it all. May you be as fascinating as a slap bracelet. May you keep the chaos and the clutter off your desk. May you have unquestionable health and less stress. Having no possessions but immeasurable wealth. May you get a gold star on your next test. May your educated guesses all be correct. And may you win prizes, shine like a diamond. And may you really own it from one moment to the next. May the best of your days be the worst of your tomorrow. May the road half paved be the road that you follow. So here's to the hearts you're not gonna break. Here's to the lives you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways we love you. Hey, we want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. Don't need no money, you get your free pass. Here is what we want you, 'cause we love you. We want you to have it. Hey, can you say we want you to have it all. We want you to have it all. We want you to have it all.
Brad, Jonathan, and Matt, thank you so much. Thank you for having so much fun with that song. Jason Mraz is a relatively well-known artist, and he does all kinds of lovely kids music, but also very positive music, and very successful. And he is a alumni of Seaside CSL youth program and young adults. So yes, it's very cool. And so thank you, Candy. I hope you can breathe after that. That's a lot of words in a really short period of time. I kept wanting to breathe for her through that song. Thank you so much. All right, thriving a state of being is our topic for the month, for the prosperity principles that we teach, that we want to learn how to put into practice or expand the way in which we're putting it into practice. And we chose this theme, thriving a state of being, because of course, as you know, you may recall, our whole year, our annual theme is emergence. So we've been paying attention to what's emerging in our own life in CSL Dallas, looking at the things that may be emerging around us. Once things emerge, right, you plant the seeds, they start to pop up out of the ground. Once they emerge, we thought, well, what comes next? Thriving, right? Those things that we grow, we cultivate them, we fertilize them, we water them, we take care of them so that they will thrive. And so this is so much more than just a prosperity opportunity to focus on a specific thing, specific amount of money or a specific good or form or material possession that we might want to have or feel like we need to have, all of which is perfectly lovely, and all of the principles and tools that we're going to talk about absolutely apply. But ultimately, as Randy so beautifully said, it's about building a prosperity consciousness, a life that works. Right? Our global vision says we're about building a world that works for everyone and lives that work for each of us. And that means for our lives to thrive individually, collectively, and in this beautiful planet, among this beautiful global family that we're a part of. So we're really focusing on how do we apply these principles in a bit of a larger way around our life as a whole. And as I said, each one of these things and these ways in which we look at it can be applied to specifics when and as we choose. So the first thing we need to do is to take a look at this word thrive. We had a lot of interesting conversations as we were talking about this theme, and we came up with grow and flourish and lots of different words playing with this idea of emergence. And of course, we came to thriving. So I had to look up the definition of thrive. Thrive is to grow vigorously, to flourish, to grow vigorously, not spindly, not sort of, right? To grow vigorously. To gain in wealth or possessions, so therefore to prosper, and to progress toward or realize a goal despite or because of circumstances. I know we've certainly had some circumstances recently, haven't we? We have had a good 5, 6, 8, 10 years of some pretty interesting circumstances, and are facing quite a few more as we look into the future. And that's individually and collectively, of course. And so this idea of flourishing and prospering, there's something vibrant around it. There's something about this idea of thriving despite circumstances. Or maybe we could say that as we focus on overcoming circumstances, situations, challenges in our life, we actually are in fact thriving. We're thriving as we have the ability to move through the circumstances, not to avoid them. Our spirituality is not a bypass of life. Our spirituality does not, this was so annoying when I figured this out. Going on a spiritual path does not mean a long, steady uphill climb into nirvana. I thought if I really did it right, I would never again, ever, 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 ever have any problems. And ultimately, I would no longer ever need to do spiritual mind treatment or an affirmation about anything. Ha, ha, ha. Because we're embodied souls having lives, right? And you just look at nature. There's flooding, there's hurricanes, there's volcanoes, there's lightning, there's a deer that comes and nibbles. And you know, nibbles back down to the ground. All of that stuff is going on, and yet, barring human interference, nature does thrive and it flourishes. Actually, some of the most amazing rejuvenation in nature is when there's a wildfire or a volcano. Of course, we have exacerbated that so much that it's now perhaps a little too much, but there is this idea that we thrive when we are willing to grasp life, not be afraid of it, not avoid it, not try to use our spirituality to get out of it, but to embrace the journey and to expect good to happen. At every level, to expect good to happen, despite or because of their circumstances. So we picked thriving, a state of being, partly because it has this twofold idea that we're going to be playing with all month. First of all, it is a declaration of absolute truth. Life is forever working to thrive. It is forever moving towards a flourishing life. It is forever moving through whatever obstacles or challenges and growing. So we can see that in any field, in any garden, in any forest, even in the desert. The minute the rain comes, there's this extraordinary bloom, and then everything waits for the next rain. It is a declaration of truth that life is inherently designed to thrive, which means it's inherently designed to move through and over obstacles and manifest more life. Now, that may be true, but sometimes we're not experiencing that. So thriving as a state of being, this is also an affirmation. This is the cornerstone affirmation that we're going to invite you to engage in this month. As we start growing our prosperity consciousness, we actually want to grow this deep embodiment that thriving is a state of being. Actually, it's the state of our being. That is the native essential truth of who we are in our lives. So we want to invite you to really focus on and own this particular affirmation. I'm thriving through the challenges. I'm thriving. I've been promoted. I'm thriving. My life is thriving. My kids have turned a corner. I'm thriving. I'm learning how to deal with a physical condition. I'm thriving. We're moving. Do you see what I'm saying? To really keep this in front of us so that we can hook our affirmation to our actual state of being. So this thriving a state of being is both an affirmation and a declaration of truth. Now, I want to read you this beautiful quote from Ernest Holmes. Hang on. Oh, no, before I do that. Thriving. Okay, I want to talk about this for a minute. So, I'm going to read you Ernest Holmes' quote. Okay, we're going to come back to this. This is Ernest Holmes. I love this. To become alive and build the greatest lives, we must become something more, something worthwhile. This is Ernest Holmes writing about himself. There is not a day in my life that goes by that I do not take the time to unify myself in my consciousness with big things. To think I am one with all activities, all industries, all commerce, and just feel that thought reaching out and encompassing the largest fields of activity of the world. Then you are one with the infinite stars in the heavens, and that is to see things. It is that in our mental attitude that decides what we are to become, and nothing else. If you could feel your mental concept of your business touch the universal, you would only have to speak the word, and it would come to you in a ceaseless stream. That's a prosperity consciousness. And that's the building of a prosperity consciousness. We must become something more, something worthwhile. And this is why we want you to focus on this affirmation of thriving. We can contribute so much more when we know that we are thriving. We can savor our lives so much more when we know we are thriving. We can move through anything when we affirm that we are thriving. And so this idea that we keep moving into something larger in our own minds invites us to really take a look at where in our lives are we thriving and maybe where we're not. So many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with this Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So Abraham Maslow was one of the first psychologists who decided, rather than focusing on people who were neurotic or psychotic or just really seriously traumatized, he would actually focus on people who were basically living ordinary lives. Right? Doesn't mean we don't have trauma, doesn't mean we don't have our own anxiety and a little bit of neurosis, but right, not clinically over into that realm of having life really not work well. But just ordinary people. He studied ordinary people. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs talks about what we require to thrive. These are actually things that our humanness requires for that spiritual truth of thriving to be revealed in our lives. Right? So we have physiological needs, which is all the basic food, shelter, clothing, enough money, all of those kinds of things. We have safety needs, which means security, a little bit of money in the bank for when we retire, having a sense that we are protected, that we live in a safe universe, love and belonging, that we have community and friendships and relationships that are meaningful. And each one of these things is adds a more full experience of thriving to our lives. Esteem is feeling as though what we do is worthwhile, and we know that it's worthwhile because we actually receive acknowledgement or recognition, or we have a sense that what we are doing, we can see that it's seriously contributing, and ultimately self-actualization. Right? You may have heard it as the peak experience. Right? When we have those moments where we really feel as though we're living our best life, we're living our greater yet to be, we're manifesting parts of that, even if we have moments of that and then we fall back into something that isn't working as well. So we're constantly throughout our life, we're building this pyramid of ways in which we are handling these needs. And one of the things that is kind of missing from the list is that all of this is easier to do when we have a spiritual grounding. When we have a spiritual source and a spiritual understanding of how this works, all of these are a little easier to rely on and a little easier to trust, because we know that life itself, spirit itself, is seeking to express fully as each one of us, wanting for our lives to be the full expression that they can be. When we examine our thriving, it's really valuable to examine where on this pyramid are we thriving and where are we struggling? And sometimes we can become so spiritually focused, we can focus so much on love and esteem and self-actualization that we forget to focus on our base needs, our basic needs. It's when we are always turning to, well, I'm just going to love everybody and I'm going to be, that's what it's all going to be about, right? We can forget that we actually also have to take care of our physiological needs. We have to take care of ourselves. We do actually have to make sure that we're taking care of our money, our finances, that we're taking care of our long-term planning, because ultimately this is our life that we're building. And the more fully all of this is thriving, the greater of a contribution that we can make. The deeper our gift that we are is able to be given. So it's really appropriate, for those of you who are in our home study groups, you're going to spend some time exploring this very thing and asking ourselves, where am I thriving? Where am I struggling? I noticed for myself for years, I had a low but kind of ongoing struggle with the financial piece of it. And I realized, well, yeah, that's because I'm constantly saying money isn't important. So I've just said that whole bottom row, physiological needs, yeah, not really paying much attention to that. So my whole pyramid was shaky. Do you see how that works? And even in safety needs, where we're making sure that in a crisis we can buy the new car, or fix the car, or, you know, do what needs to be done, and it's not this overwhelming, oh my God, what's going to happen now, right? As we are focusing on these, it actually strengthens our ability to have these higher needs met in a long-term, stable way. So this is one of the reasons, one of the biggest reasons why we focus on prosperity and abundance, because it's part of that basic need that we have in life, so that our lives work. And when our lives work, we can contribute in an entirely different way to a world that works, which is, of course, what's required of us these days, isn't it? So, I want to share with you, building on Abraham Maslow's work, and New Thought has had a huge impact in this over the last 100 years, and that is a move towards a positive psychology, recognizing that it doesn't always work to think about how broken we are or what's wrong with us and how we are, you know, Locke said it best. He said, all life is, you know, people's lives are just nasty, brutish, and short. 17th century philosopher from the continent, right? And there are a lot of people who have bought into that and still buy into it. How many of you have seen the bumper sticker, life's a bitch and then you die? That is the current contemporary version of Locke and Hume's idea. And it completely misses the spiritual aspect that we are here to contribute and that our lives are intended to blossom. So I'm going to read this. I just want to read you a few paragraphs from this article from the American Psychologist. In this first century edition of American Psychologist, it was dedicated to the burgeoning field of positive psychology and predicted that psychology would gravitate away from the study of malaise and toward wellness. Thriving. Figuring out how to thrive rather than just survive. Since then, countless studies on wellness have been published in scientific journals. Although scientists haven't completely reached a consensus, mostly because they forget about the spiritual piece, but they are still working on it. Thriving can, in fact, be something quite specific. So here's their definition of thriving. It may involve resilience, for example, but doesn't necessarily just refer to overcoming obstacles or arise out of hardship. And it's distinguished from prospering because thriving involves evolution, whereas prospering only denotes success, essentially financial. I really want you to hear that. When we're working on our prosperity principles and our prosperity consciousness, we're not working on just success. Oh, look, I've arrived. Or to be able to point at a certain physical, material manifestation and say, now I'm prosperous because I've been successful in manifesting this thing. No, those things are simply a part of the creation of a thriving life, of a life of well-being, and it includes evolution. The evolving idea of what thriving means to you. The evolving idea of how you seek to manifest that. The evolving idea that we have about who we are, who we've come here to be, and what our contribution is. In other words, okay, here's the little zinger. In other words, if you're just coasting, doing the unchallenging thing that you do well, you're not thriving because you're not developing. Similarly, if you're performing well and trying tough stuff, but you're perpetually stressed and not enjoying yourself, that's a success of a kind that doesn't count as thriving. I had to read that paragraph twice, and I had to think to myself, how many times do I find myself stressed and not really enjoying because I'm pushing towards something? And how often do we pray for ease and grace because we want to be comfortable? We don't want to move and develop and grow. This is one of the reasons why we hook this conversation with our pledge program. As many of the people who've been around for a while, who have chosen to pledge, who have chosen to use this time to develop a regular practice of using the law of giving and receiving and of growing, developing the prosperity consciousness, which means giving a little more and then a little more and then a little more, they will tell you the extraordinary experience that comes when a life is thriving through this development of a prosperity consciousness practice. Do you see? That's why these two things are hooked together, so that you can use the pledge program not only to support a community that you love, support the programs and services that we have here, but so that you can not coast. If you're just coasting, doing the unchallenging thing that you do well, drop a little bit of money in the basket, whatever it is, you're not thriving because you're not developing. The developing doesn't have to be an unending belief that we're improving because we need to be fixed. No, it's because we're constantly being invited to grow, expand, become more of who we have come here to be, more of that infinite life, that love, that joy and peace and presence that is moving as us in the world. Now, as we said with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you can be thriving in some areas and struggling in others, right? And so one of the things we'll also talk about is how you can borrow from one area to and apply it to another. But their general outline of what's required to thrive is this: optimism, motivation, proactivity, an enjoyment of learning, flexibility, adaptability, spirituality or religiosity, social competency, and self-esteem. You might look at that list. Are you generally motivated but not necessarily optimistic? Are you generally optimistic but maybe not very proactive? Are you proactive and motivated and you enjoy learning, but maybe flexibility and adaptability are a little challenging because you like things to be the way they're supposed to be, right? And how important our spirituality is and our social engagement is, and of course, the way in which we feel about ourselves. So part of our program, I think the fourth week, we're going to be talking about, or fourth and fifth week, about our self-esteem. Prosperity is a big reflection. Our prosperity is a big reflection of how we feel about ourselves, either as the living, breathing incarnation of the infinite love, or something very separate and unworthy. So it's worth thinking about these things. And again, not bad or good, but to notice where am I thriving and where am I struggling? Cindy Trim says this: life was designed for you to thrive, not survive. Survivors just get by. Thrivers actually live. Right? And that's that willingness to embrace challenge, overcome challenge, be optimistic, be motivated, be proactive, engage with it, and not falter in the moment when all of our resilience and all of our chutzpah is required. So this opportunity that we have all month is to expand our engagement with a thriving life, to experience it as a state of being, to keep coming back to it as an affirmation, and as we practice the prosperity principles, to apply them not just specifically, but to our life as a whole. For those of you who are in a home study group, you've gotten your stuff. It's an amazing program to help you work through it. For those of you that are not in a home study group, we do have just a one-page opportunity for you to do some deeper exploration with us throughout the month. So come along for the ride. Thriving is your state of being.
Thank you, Dr. Petra. Now is the time when we show some support for our community, and these are oftentimes the result of pledges and commitments that you have made from last year's campaign. So as we ask our greeters to come forward with the baskets, then you have the opportunity to contemplate the way in which you support CSL Dallas with your financial gifts. As we begin to make that gathering, let us say our abundance affirmation together. I am a magnet for my good, always knowing that Spirit is my supply. I know that CSL Dallas is energized with renewed power, creative ability, and divine abundance. We share this good with our community and the world, and so it is. Fantastic. There are many ways to give. There's text giving and Venmo and PayPal, those digital methods. There's auto tithing. There's baskets coming around right now. And please do use the option that works best for you. And I hope you will know this, but just as a reminder, immediately after the Sunday celebration, you can receive free spiritual support session with one of our licensed spiritual coaches. If you're here on the campus, you just go across the breezeway and into the Peace Room to your right as you enter Pankey Hall. And those of you with us on stream, you have that information in the chat box, how you can join via Zoom. And you can also fill out a spiritual support request form over here in the alcove to my left. If you'd like to just make a written request, drop it in the box there, and the practitioners will take care of that as well. One last announcement, starting tomorrow night, Qigong is back at CSL Dallas. And so please, on Monday, head to Meditation Hall. Every Monday this month, you'll be able to meet for gentle, restorative, movement-based meditation. That'll be from 7 to 8, Qigong starting tomorrow. Also, did you know that we have a wisdom circle? For those of you that are 55 and wiser, this circle meets every second and fourth Thursday for food, fellowship, and fun. To learn more about this and to join, visit csldallas.org/groups or connect with Tom Boldry and Avis Ives. There's Tom today. Wave at us, Tom. So Visit with Tom if you'd like to learn more about that. And also, you have the opportunity to learn from the wisdom of Deepak Chopra right here at CSL Dallas starting Tuesdays, October 17th. Practitioner Carol Merlot will be teaching the 7 spiritual laws of success, and that's based on his book. Explore the 7 principles and practice applying them in your everyday life through this course, and you can learn more again, csldallas.org/education. Now, let us close our fabulous time together with our outstanding music team.